The massive crystal chamber floated in the darkness of space, spinning slowly around the bright star Vega. Inside, hundreds of alien beings sat in rows that curved up toward the ceiling like a giant bowl. This was the Galactic Council, and today they would make a decision that would change everything. Ambassador Zethkar stood at the center of the chamber. His blue skin gleamed under the lights as he raised his forearms. The reptilian creature's yellow eyes looked around the room with confidence. He had been planning this moment for months. Fellow council members, Zethkar began, his voice echoing through the chamber. Today we discuss a new world for our expansion. A small planet called Earth in the Outer Rim territories. A hologram appeared above his head showing a blue and green world spinning in space. The planet looked peaceful and beautiful. White clouds swirled over vast oceans and brown continents. The inhabitants call themselves humans, Zethkar continued. Our scouts report they are primitive beings. They fight among themselves constantly. They have crude nuclear weapons but no real space travel. They would make excellent workers for our mining operations. Murmurs filled the chamber as the alien representatives talked among themselves. Most seemed pleased with the idea. New worlds meant new resources and more power for the council, but not everyone agreed. Veltara from the Aquatic Collective raised one of her tentacles. The blue creature's voice bubbled like water when she spoke. I have concerns about these humans, Veltara said. Our long-range observers report rapid technological growth. In just 100 of their years, they went from simple flying machines to nuclear weapons. This seems unusual. General Krextol from the Saurian Empire hissed with laughter. The giant reptile's scales rattled as he shook his massive head. Veltara worries too much. These humans are divided into hundreds of small nations. They spend more time fighting each other than developing their world. They will surrender quickly when they see our superior technology. But their advancement rate, Veltara started to say. Means nothing, Krextol interrupted. All primitive species develop quickly at first. Then they reach their limits. These humans have reached theirs. Look at their space program. They barely managed to leave their own atmosphere. Zethkar nodded agreement. General Krextol speaks truth. Our intelligence shows humans are aggressive but disorganized. They have no unified government. When we arrive, they will panic and submit. It is always this way with primitive worlds. The debate continued for hours. Some council members worried about the humans' apparent warlike nature. Others pointed out that aggressive species often made the best workers once they were properly controlled. A few wondered if they should try peaceful contact first, but the majority agreed with Zethkar and Krextol. Earth looked rich in resources. The humans seemed weak and divided. It would be an easy conquest that would bring great profits to the council. Meanwhile, far across the galaxy on Earth, President Jacob Martinez sat in the underground command center beneath the White House. The room was filled with screens showing satellite feeds from around the world. Military officers and scientists hurried back and forth carrying reports and data tablets. Sir, our deep space sensors are picking up something massive, reported General Lisa Hayes. The tall woman pointed to a screen showing dots of light moving through space. It's still far away, but the computer estimates 12 large ships heading directly for our solar system. President Martinez felt his stomach drop. For decades, world leaders had prepared for this moment. Secret projects had been running since the 1940s, ever since that crash in Roswell, New Mexico. The public knew nothing about humanity's real preparations. How long do we have? Martinez asked. 72 hours at their current speed, Hayes replied. I've already sent the coded messages to world leaders. The protocols are now active. Across the complex, Dr. Andrew Blake worked frantically in Laboratory 7. The gray-haired scientist had spent 30 years studying the alien technology recovered from various crash sites around the world. Now all that secret research would finally be put to use. Sarah, start the reactor sequence, Blake called to his assistant. Dr. Sarah Williams nodded and began typing commands into the computer. Around them, machines that looked like science fiction came to life with humming sounds and flashing lights. The shield generators are coming online, Williams reported. All major cities should be protected within 6 hours. Blake looked at the screens showing their hidden weapons. Humanity had learned much from studying alien wrecks over the decades. They had built defenses the aliens knew nothing about. But would it be enough? Back in the Galactic Council chamber, the final vote was taking place. Representatives pressed buttons on their desks to register their choices. The results appeared on the main screen in glowing numbers. "The vote is complete," announced the council secretary. 47 in favor of immediate invasion. 23 against. 12 abstentions. The motion passes. Zethkar smiled with satisfaction. "Excellent. I assign this operation to Admiral Vokchan of our Third Fleet. Admiral, how long will you need to pacify this world?" Admiral Vokchan, a tall gray alien with large black eyes, stood and bowed. "Honored Ambassador, based on our analysis, I estimate complete control within one planetary rotation. These humans have never faced galactic-level technology. They will surrender when they see our power." "Perfect," Zethkar said. "Admiral, you have full authority to use whatever force necessary. But remember, we need the humans alive for labor. Try not to damage too much of their infrastructure." As the council session ended, none of the aliens noticed Veltara's worried expression. The aquatic being had studied the human data more carefully than the others. Something about these creatures bothered her. Their rapid development, their constant warfare, their refusal to give up even in hopeless situations. But her concerns were ignored. The council had made its decision. The invasion fleet was already moving toward Earth, on Earth. President Martinez finished his emergency call with the leaders of China, Russia, and the European Union. Similar conversations were happening with every major nation. For the first time in human history, the entire planet was working together toward a single goal. "General Hayes," Martinez said, "activate all defensive systems. Contact Captain Burke on the Defiance. It's time to show these aliens what humans are really capable of." The general saluted. "Yes, sir. Sending the activation codes now." High above Earth, hidden among the space debris that orbited the planet, weapon systems that had been sleeping for decades began to wake up. The aliens thought they were invading a primitive world. They were about to learn how wrong they were. Admiral Vokchan stood on the bridge of his flagship, looking at Earth through the large windows. The blue planet hung in space like a jewel, completely unaware of what was coming. Around him, his crew prepared for what they expected to be a simple operation. "All ships report ready, Admiral," his communications officer announced. The young alien's skin was pale green and his eyes were large and dark like most of his species. "Excellent," Vokchan replied. "Begin standard first contact procedure. Broadcast our demands on all human frequencies." The message went out across Earth's communication networks. Television programs stopped. Radio stations fell silent. Emergency broadcast replaced normal programming as Vokchan's voice reached every human on the planet. "Primitive beings of Earth," the alien admiral began. "I am Admiral Vokchan of the Galactic Council Third Fleet. Your world has been selected for integration into our civilized galaxy. Surrender immediately and you will be treated fairly. Resist and face the consequences of your defiance." President Martinez listened to the broadcast from his command center. Around him, military officers and scientists waited for his response. The president looked at General Hayes and nodded. "Put me through to all channels," Martinez said calmly. Meanwhile, high above Earth's atmosphere, Lieutenant Commander Ryan Burke stood on the bridge of the UES Defiance. The warship had been hidden among Earth's satellites for 5 years, waiting for this moment. Burke was young for his rank, but he had trained his entire life for this day. "Sir, we're receiving Admiral Vokchan's surrender demand," reported his communications officer, Lieutenant Amy Foster. "Let me respond," Burke said. He activated his own transmitter and broadcast on all frequencies that the alien fleet was using. "Admiral Vokchan, this is Lieutenant Commander Ryan Burke of the United Earth Space Force. You have entered sovereign human territory without permission. Withdraw immediately or face the consequences." On the alien flagship, Vokchan's crew looked at each other in confusion. They had expected fear, panic, or immediate surrender. Instead, a human was giving them orders. "Did that primitive just threaten us?" asked the communications officer. Vokchan laughed, a sound like grinding metal. "It seems these humans need a demonstration of our power. Target their major population centers. Use standard pacification bombardment. Minimal casualties but maximum shock value." The alien fleet opened fire. Bright beams of plasma energy shot down toward Earth's cities. The weapons were designed to destroy buildings and infrastructure while leaving most people alive. The aliens watched their weapons streak toward targets in New York, London, Tokyo, and Moscow. Then something impossible happened. The plasma beams hit invisible barriers and scattered harmlessly into space. Blue energy shields flickered into view around every major city on Earth, deflecting the alien attack completely. "What is this?" Vokchan demanded. "Report." How are they blocking our weapons? His science officer, a tall, thin alien with 4 arms, worked frantically at his computer. Sir, the humans appear to have some form of energy shielding, but this technology should be beyond their capability level. On Earth, Dr. Blake watched his shield generators perform perfectly. The systems they had built using reverse-engineered alien technology were working exactly as designed. But this was only the beginning. All right, everyone, Blake announced to his team. Phase 1 is complete. Begin Phase 2. Launch all fighters. Captain Nina Torres sat in the cockpit of her fighter craft, the Eagle One. Around her, 50 other pilots prepared for launch from hidden bases around the world. These weren't normal aircraft. They had been built using technology that humanity had kept secret for decades. Eagle Squadron, this is Captain Torres, she said into her radio. Remember your training. These aliens have never fought anything like us. Show them what human pilots can do. The fighters launched from underground hangars that opened like flowers blooming. They shot up through Earth's atmosphere at speeds that should have been impossible for any vehicle carrying a human pilot. The alien pilots saw the human fighters approaching and laughed. Their own ships were larger and more heavily armed. They expected easy victories against primitive opponents, but the human fighters moved like nothing the aliens had ever seen. Captain Torres pulled her craft through turns that created forces strong enough to crush most living beings. Her fellow pilots followed her lead, dancing through space in patterns that seemed to defy physics. How are they surviving those acceleration forces? An alien pilot screamed into his radio. Those maneuvers should kill any biological pilot. The aliens didn't know that human pilots had been selected and trained for extreme conditions. They didn't understand that humans had evolved on a world where survival meant adapting to forces that would destroy most galactic species. Lieutenant Pete Johnson, flying Eagle 7, locked onto an alien fighter and fired. His weapons were based on human ballistic technology but enhanced with alien materials. The projectiles moved faster than anything in the alien arsenal and punched through their target's shields like paper. Eagle 7, confirmed kill, Johnson reported calmly. More alien ships exploded as human fighters swarmed around them. The aliens found themselves outmaneuvered by opponents who seemed to ignore the normal limits of biology. On the ground, Colonel Sam Mitchell led human ground forces that had been preparing for this moment for years. When alien dropships landed to deploy troops, they found humans waiting for them. Remember, Mitchell told his soldiers over the radio, these aliens have been fighting civilized wars for centuries. They don't know how to handle real combat. The aliens marched out of their ships in neat formations, expecting to face frightened civilians or poorly trained militia. Instead, they met soldiers who had studied every piece of alien technology that had ever crashed on Earth. When the aliens fired their energy weapons, human soldiers were already moving. They had studied alien tactics from recovered battle recordings. They knew exactly how galactic forces fought, and they had prepared accordingly. Sergeant Diana Cooper and her squad used the aliens' own predictable patterns against them. While the enemy advanced in straight lines, human forces attacked from unexpected angles using terrain and cover in ways the aliens had never encountered. These humans fight like savages, one alien soldier reported to his commander. They don't follow any civilized rules of warfare. Adapt your tactics, his commander replied. But adaptation takes time, and humans had been practicing these techniques for decades. Admiral Voxgen watched his perfect invasion falling apart. His fleet was taking heavy casualties from human fighters that seemed to appear and disappear at will. His ground forces were being outfought by opponents who should have been helpless against galactic technology. Sir, his communications officer said nervously, we're receiving reports from all sectors. The humans aren't fighting like any species in our databases. Send a message to the Galactic Council, Voxgen ordered. His voice no longer carried its earlier confidence. Tell them the humans are not what they appear to be. Request immediate reinforcements. As the first day of battle ended, the alien invasion force had suffered losses they never expected. Human defenders had not only survived the initial attack, but had begun pushing back against forces that were supposed to be overwhelming. In his command center, President Martinez received reports from around the world. General Hayes, what's our status? Sir, all major cities are secure. Our fighter squadrons are maintaining air superiority. Ground forces are holding their positions. The aliens seem completely unprepared for our level of resistance. Martinez nodded. Good. Now we move to Phase 3. It's time to show them what humans do when we stop being defensive. Dr. Blake stood in the heart of his underground laboratory, watching as 40 years of secret research finally came to life. Around him, machines that looked like they belonged in science fiction movies hummed with power. His team of scientists worked at control panels that monitored weapons the galaxy had never seen before. Status report, Blake called out to his team. Dr. Williams looked up from her station. The asteroid targeting system is online. We have 12 rocks positioned in the outer solar system, each one the size of a city block. Kinetic bombardment ready? Blake asked. Yes, sir. We can drop them anywhere on the alien fleet with pinpoint accuracy. Each impact will have the force of a nuclear weapon but with no radiation. Blake nodded with satisfaction. Humans had learned much from studying crashed alien ships over the decades, but they had also improved on alien technology in ways the galaxy couldn't imagine. They had combined alien science with human engineering and human ruthlessness. Begin targeting sequence, Blake ordered. Let's show these aliens what human creativity looks like. High above Earth, Admiral Vakchin tried to understand how his superior fleet was losing to primitive humans. His ships had better weapons, stronger shields, and more advanced technology. But somehow the humans kept finding ways to hurt them. Admiral, his science officer reported, long-range sensors are detecting objects moving toward us from the outer system. What kind of objects? Vakchin demanded. Large asteroids, sir. 12 of them. But their trajectories are impossible. Asteroids don't move in perfect straight lines toward specific targets. Vakchin felt a chill run through his body. Are you telling me the humans are throwing rocks at us? Not throwing, sir. Accelerating them to incredible speeds using some kind of propulsion system we can't detect. The first asteroid hit an alien cruiser with the force of a small star. The ship simply vanished in a flash of light and debris. The second asteroid destroyed a battleship. The third took out an entire squadron of fighters. Evasive maneuvers. Vakchin screamed. All ships scatter. But the asteroids followed them, guided by human computers that calculated trajectories faster than alien navigation systems could respond. In 10 minutes, the alien fleet lost a third of its ships to weapons that cost almost nothing to make but delivered devastating results. On the surface of Earth, Major Kate Sullivan led her ground forces in operations that terrified the alien soldiers. When the enemy deployed chemical weapons, thinking they would easily overcome human resistance, Sullivan's troops emerged wearing protective suits that filtered out every known toxin. How did they know what chemicals we would use? Demanded the alien ground commander. His aide checked his datapad nervously. Sir, our intelligence was wrong. These humans seem to have prepared for every weapon in our arsenal. What the aliens didn't know was that humans had been studying their technology and tactics for decades. Every crashed ship, every recovered weapon, every piece of alien equipment had been analyzed and cataloged. Human scientists knew alien military doctrine better than most alien soldiers did. When the Aquatic Collective sent their forces to flood coastal cities, thinking they could drive humans away from their strongholds, they found Captain Alex Harper waiting for them with amphibious assault craft that moved through water faster than most alien submarines. These vehicles shouldn't be possible, the aquatic commander reported to his superiors. Human technology can't support this level of underwater performance. But humans had combined alien materials with their own submarine technology. They had created vessels that could operate in any environment, from the deepest ocean to the vacuum of space. The real shock came when Captain Harper's forces began capturing alien equipment intact. Human combat engineers like Sergeant Tony Rodriguez had trained for years to quickly adapt and reverse engineer alien technology in the field. We've got 3 alien fighters in working condition, Rodriguez reported to his commander. Give me 6 hours and I'll have them flying with human pilots. 6 hours? His commander asked in amazement. Sir, we've been studying these designs since before I was born. We know how they work better than the aliens do. This was humanity's secret weapon. They didn't just fight to win battles. They fought to learn. Every engagement taught them something new about their enemies. Every captured piece of technology made them stronger. Commander Elena Rodriguez sat in the intelligence center, listening to intercepted alien communications. Her team of codebreakers had cracked the alien encryption systems in just 2 days. Now they could hear everything the enemy was saying. Ma'am, reported Lieutenant Steve Adams, we're picking up a priority transmission from the alien flagship to their home base. Put it on speaker, Rodriguez ordered. Admiral Voxion's voice filled the room, speaking in his own language but translated by human computers. Council Command, this is Admiral Voxion. The human resistance is far beyond our projections. They possess advanced technology and tactical knowledge that should be impossible for their development level. Request immediate reinforcement. Rodriguez smiled grimly. Lieutenant Adams, I want this information distributed to every human commander on Earth. Let them know exactly what the aliens are thinking. Meanwhile, Professor Maria Gonzalez worked in the xenobiology laboratory, studying captured alien prisoners. What she discovered changed everything humans thought they knew about galactic civilization. These creatures evolved on worlds with light gravity and stable climates. Gonzalez reported to President Martinez during a secure video call. They never faced the kind of environmental pressures that shaped human development. What does that mean for our defense? Martinez asked. Sir, it means we're not just fighting a more advanced civilization. We're fighting species that have never experienced real hardship. They don't know how to adapt to unexpected situations. They've never had to fight for survival against overwhelming odds. This revelation spread through human military leadership like wildfire. Earth's defenders realized they weren't facing superior beings. They were facing aliens who had lived comfortable lives in a peaceful galaxy, where conflicts were settled through negotiation and formal rules of warfare. Humans, by contrast, had evolved on a world that tried to kill them every day. They had survived ice ages, volcanic eruptions, diseases, and countless wars. They had learned to adapt, to improvise, and to never give up no matter how hopeless things seemed. Captain Derek Stone commanded a strike force that demonstrated this difference perfectly. While alien ships fought in neat formations following established tactical doctrines, Stone's forces used guerrilla warfare techniques adapted for space combat. Remember, Stone told his pilots, aliens expect us to fight fair. We're going to disappoint them. Human fighters would attack alien formations, then retreat before the enemy could respond effectively. They would use asteroid fields and debris clouds for cover, ambushing alien patrols from hiding places the enemy never thought to check. When alien reinforcements arrived at the location of previous battles, they found empty space and hidden mines that human engineers had planted. Stone's forces were always somewhere else, hitting targets the aliens thought were safe. The psychological effect on alien forces was devastating. They had expected to fight a conventional war against a primitive enemy. Instead, they faced opponents who seemed to be everywhere and nowhere at once, who learned from every mistake, and who never stopped adapting to new challenges. By the end of the third day, Admiral Voxion's invasion force was in full retreat. They had lost more ships and soldiers than any galactic fleet had lost in a century of peace. And the humans were just getting started. Send another message to Council Command, Voxion ordered his communications officer. His voice shook with something aliens rarely experienced. Fear. What should I tell them, sir? Tell them we were wrong about everything. These humans aren't primitive. They're the most dangerous species the galaxy has ever encountered. General Hayes stood in the command center watching real-time displays of the solar system. 3 days ago, the aliens had arrived expecting easy victory. Now their remaining ships huddled together near Jupiter, sending desperate messages to their homeworlds for help. Ma'am, reported Colonel Patricia Green, our deep space sensors are detecting a massive fleet approaching from the direction of the galactic core. At least 200 ships, Hayes nodded calmly. Expected arrival time? 18 hours at current speed. Perfect. That gives us enough time to prepare our surprise. Hayes turned to the communication station. Get me Captain Stone and Commander Burke. It's time for Phase 4. In space near Earth's moon, Captain Derek Stone received his new orders with grim satisfaction. His ship, the UES Vengeance, had been built in secret using technologies recovered from alien crashes over the past 50 years. But unlike human-built spacecraft that aliens might expect, the Vengeance looked like nothing in any galactic database. All ships, this is Captain Stone, he broadcast to the human fleet. Intelligence reports alien reinforcements approaching. We're moving to intercept. Lieutenant Commander Burke, now commanding a small fleet of human warships, joined Stone's formation. His original ship, the Defiance, had proven that humans could build vessels that outperformed anything in the alien arsenal. Stone, this is Burke, he radioed. My science team has finished analyzing the captured alien navigation data. We know exactly where they're going to arrive. Outstanding. Let's give them a welcome they'll never forget. The human fleet moved to positions near the edge of the solar system, but instead of taking defensive positions around Earth, they spread out in a pattern that would have puzzled any alien tactical analyst. Humans weren't preparing to defend their homeworld. They were preparing to ambush the enemy in deep space. Commander Rachel Thompson led the advanced scouts in modified fighters that could operate far from any base. Her ships carried new weapons that Dr. Blake's team had developed using captured alien technology, combined with human innovation. All scouts maintain radio silence, Thompson ordered. We know they're coming. Let's make sure they don't know we're here. 18 hours later, Admiral Voxchen's reinforcement fleet arrived exactly where human intelligence had predicted. The alien commander, Admiral Thexmore, brought with him the most powerful battle group the Galactic Council had assembled in decades. Admiral Voxchen, Thexmore transmitted to the battered remains of the original invasion fleet. Explain to me how a primitive world has cost us so many ships. Sir, the humans are not what our intelligence reported. They possess advanced technology and tactical knowledge that rivals our own. Recommend extreme caution in any engagement. Thexmore studied the data from the previous battles with growing concern. The humans had used weapons and tactics that weren't in any galactic database. They fought like no civilized species should fight. Very well, Thexmore replied. We will proceed carefully. All ships maintain maximum alert status as we approach the human homeworld. The alien fleet began moving toward Earth in a standard approach formation. This was exactly what human strategists had hoped for. The aliens were following their military doctrine exactly as expected. That's when Captain Stone sprang his trap. The human fleet attacked from 6 different directions simultaneously. They had positioned themselves using techniques learned from studying submarine warfare, staying hidden until the moment of attack. All ships, execute Operation Hammerfall, Stone commanded. Human warships emerged from behind asteroids and debris fields where they had been hiding. They fired weapons the aliens had never seen before. Railguns that launched projectiles at a significant fraction of light speed, and particle beams powered by fusion reactors that shouldn't have been possible with human technology. Impossible, Admiral Thexmore shouted as his flagship's shields failed under the human assault. How are they generating this much power? What the aliens didn't understand was that humans had spent decades not just copying alien technology, but improving it. They had combined alien science with human engineering in ways that produced results beyond what either could achieve alone. Commander Thompson's scout fighters demonstrated another human advantage. While alien pilots relied on their ship's computers for targeting and navigation, human pilots had trained to fly manually when necessary. When the aliens tried to jam human electronics, they found that human fighters kept fighting effectively. This is impossible, reported an alien pilot. Their ships should be helpless without computer guidance. Negative, Thompson replied, having intercepted the transmission. We've been flying manually for centuries. Your computers are just training wheels. The battle lasted 6 hours. When it ended, Admiral Thexmore's mighty fleet was either destroyed or retreating toward the galactic core. The few alien ships that escaped carried terrifying reports back to the Galactic Council. But the real shock was yet to come. Dr. Susan Carter worked in the intelligence division, analyzing the vast databases they had captured from alien ships. What she found changed humanity's understanding of galactic civilization completely. President Martinez, Carter reported during an emergency briefing, "You need to see this data immediately." She displayed holographic images showing star maps, trade routes, and information about hundreds of alien worlds. Sir, Earth wasn't randomly chosen for invasion. We were specifically selected because the Council viewed humans as primitive warriors, suitable for entertainment in their gladiatorial arenas. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Martinez felt anger building in his chest as he read the alien documents. They wanted to use us as slaves for their entertainment? Yes, sir. But that's not the worst part. These databases show that the Council has been doing this for thousands of years. They've enslaved entire civilizations, wiped out species that resisted, and turned survivors into gladiators for alien amusement. Carter brought up more data showing the systematic oppression that the Galactic Council used to maintain control. Entire species were kept in poverty and ignorance while their resources were stripped away by Council forces. Sir, Carter continued, we're not just fighting for Earth's freedom. We're fighting against a system that has oppressed the galaxy for millennia. This revelation triggered something the aliens had never expected, a Unified human response that went far beyond simple planetary defense. President Martinez authorized Dr. Blake to begin the most ambitious project in human history. Dr. Blake, Martinez ordered, I want you to reverse engineer their faster-than-light travel technology. It's time for humans to leave our solar system. Blake smiled grimly. Sir, we've already been working on that. Give us 72 hours and we'll have our first interstellar-capable ships ready for launch. The technology came together faster than anyone had dared hope. Humans had been studying alien FTL drives for decades, but they had never had access to working examples before. Now they had dozens of captured alien ships to examine. Engineer Tony Rodriguez led the team that cracked the alien FTL technology, but instead of simply copying it, they improved it using human engineering principles. The alien drives are built for efficiency and safety, Rodriguez reported. Ours are built for speed and power. We can travel twice as fast as anything in their fleet. Within a week of the battle, the first human ships were ready for interstellar travel. Captain Stone volunteered to lead the first mission beyond the solar system. Where are we going, sir? Asked his navigator. Stone looked at the star charts they had taken from alien databases. The maps showed the locations of every council world, every trade route, and every military base in this sector of the galaxy. We're going to pay a visit to some council worlds, Stone replied. It's time they learned what happens when you threaten Earth. But Stone's mission wouldn't be one of conquest. President Martinez had made it clear that humans would fight differently than their enemies. Lieutenant Jack Foster, serving as Stone's diplomatic officer, carried new orders that would change the galaxy forever. Captain, our mission is to contact oppressed species and offer them something the Council never has: freedom and alliance. As human ships prepared to leave the solar system for the first time, carrying news of Earth's victory to the stars, the Galactic Council received reports that filled them with terror. The primitive world they had thought to easily conquer was now building an interstellar fleet. Admiral Vakchin, now commanding only a single damaged ship, sent the final transmission that would become legend throughout the galaxy. Council Command. This is Admiral Vakchin with final intelligence report. The humans are not simply defending their world. They are preparing to bring their revolution to the galaxy. May the stars help us all. The Galactic Council chamber that had once buzzed with confident voices now filled with panicked shouting. Ambassador Zethkar, who had proposed the invasion of Earth just weeks earlier, stood at the center of the chaos trying to maintain order. Reports flooded in from across Council territory, each one worse than the last. Order! Order! Zethkar called out, his forearms waving frantically. We must address these reports systematically. Council member Veltara from the Aquatic Collective raised a tentacle to speak. Her earlier warnings about humanity now seemed prophetic rather than overly cautious. Ambassador Zethkar, Veltara said, her voice carrying across the chamber. I have reports from the Outer Rim territories. Human ships have appeared in 17 different star systems. They are not conquering these worlds. They are liberating them. General Krextol of the Saurian Empire, who had laughed at human capabilities just weeks before, now struggled to maintain his composure. This is impossible. How did primitive humans develop interstellar travel so quickly? They were never primitive, Veltara replied coldly. You refused to listen when I warned about their rapid development. Now we face the consequences of your arrogance. Meanwhile, in the Kepler system, Captain Lauren Mitchell commanded the human fleet that had just liberated the mining world of Kepler 7. The planet's inhabitants, a species called the miners, had been enslaved by the Council for 3 centuries. Captain Mitchell, reported her communications officer, Lieutenant Brian Cox, the planetary leader wants to thank us personally. The alien leader, whose name was Velkun, appeared on the main screen. His species looked like tall, thin humanoids with gray skin and large eyes. He spoke in broken galactic standard, but his emotion was clear. Humans of Earth, Velkun said, tears streaming down his face. For 300 years my people have worked in the deep mines for council masters. We had given up hope of freedom. You have given us back our world, our dignity, our future. How can we repay such a gift? Captain Mitchell smiled warmly. Velkun, freedom isn't something you pay for. It's something every thinking being deserves. We ask only that you help us spread this message to other oppressed worlds. This scene repeated itself across the galaxy as human ships arrived at world after world that had suffered under council rule. Unlike typical conquerors, Humans brought medical supplies, educational materials, and offers of alliance rather than demands for submission. Dr. Blake, now serving as Earth's chief science advisor, had established research stations on liberated worlds. His teams shared human technology freely with any species that wanted to learn. The key to human success, Blake explained to a gathering of alien scientists, is that we never stop learning and improving. We will teach you everything we know, and we hope you will teach us in return. This approach shocked galactic civilization. For thousands of years, advanced species had hoarded their knowledge to maintain superiority over others. Humans freely shared their most advanced technologies with former slaves and oppressed peoples. The result was rapid development across the liberated territories. Species that had been kept ignorant for centuries suddenly had access to education and technology. Worlds that had been strip-mined for council profit began developing their own industries and economies. Back on the Saurian homeworld, General Krextol faced a crisis he had never imagined possible. His own people, inspired by human concepts of individual freedom and democratic government, were demanding changes to their rigid military society. "General," reported his aide, a younger Saurian named Krextol, "the protests have spread to all major cities. They want representation in government decisions. They want the right to choose their own careers instead of being assigned by the military caste." Krextol stared at the reports in disbelief. Saurian society had been stable for thousands of years, built on the principle that some individuals were born to rule while others were born to serve. Now his people were questioning the very foundation of their civilization. "How did this happen?" Krextol demanded. "Sir, they've been watching human broadcasts. Humans talk about something called democracy, where leaders are chosen by the people they govern. They speak of individual rights that cannot be taken away by authority. Our people want these things for themselves." Similar rebellions were erupting across council territory. The rigid caste systems and authoritarian governments that had maintained galactic order for millennia were crumbling as human ideas spread from world to world. President Martinez, now recognized as the leader of what humans called the Liberated Worlds Alliance, prepared to address the Galactic Council directly. But he wouldn't be going as a supplicant begging for mercy. He would arrive as the elected representative of a coalition that now controlled more than a third of known space. "Mr. President," reported General Hayes, "our fleet is ready to escort you to the council chambers. 200 ships representing 47 different species, all volunteers." Martinez nodded. The fleet that would accompany him to the council meeting included not just human vessels, but ships from every species that had joined the alliance. Former slaves now flew as equals alongside their liberators. The journey to the council chambers took 3 days. When Martinez's fleet arrived, they found the council's own military forces waiting for them. But something had changed in the alien formations. Several council ships displayed new markings indicating they had switched sides. Admiral Voxgen, commanding one of the few loyal council vessels remaining, transmitted a final message to his superiors. "Council Command, approximately 30% of our fleet has declared for the human alliance. Morale among remaining loyal forces is critically low. Recommend immediate negotiation with human leadership." When President Martinez entered the council chamber, the scene was very different from the confident gathering that had voted to invade Earth. Many seats sat empty as representatives had fled to join the growing rebellion. Those who remained looked desperate and afraid. Ambassador Zethkar, the architect of the invasion, could barely meet Martinez's eyes as the human president walked to the center of the chamber. The same podium where Zethkar had displayed Earth as a primitive target now held the leader of a revolution that was reshaping galactic civilization. "Members of the Galactic Council," Martinez began, his voice carrying easily through the vast chamber, "I come here not as a conqueror, but as the representative of free peoples across the galaxy. You chose to judge us by your standards. Now you will be judged by ours." He activated a holographic display showing the evidence that Dr. Carter's intelligence teams had gathered from captured council databases. The images showed centuries of slavery, oppression, and genocide committed in the name of galactic order. These records document systematic crimes against sentient species. Martinez continued. Worlds destroyed for resisting council rule. Entire populations enslaved for entertainment. Civilizations kept ignorant to prevent them from challenging council authority. The evidence was overwhelming. Many council members had never seen the full scope of their civilization's crimes. Some had genuinely believed they were bringing order to a chaotic galaxy. Others had simply never cared about the cost of their comfort. "What do you want from us?" Sethkar asked, his voice barely above a whisper. "Justice," Martinez replied. "Members of this council will face trial for crimes against sentient species. You will be judged by the same legal frameworks you created, but applied fairly to all beings regardless of species or status." This was humanity's final surprise. Instead of seeking revenge or imposing their own system by force, humans demanded justice according to galactic law. They had studied the Council's own legal codes and found principles of justice and equality that the Council had applied only to themselves. Dr. Carter, now serving as the Alliance's chief legal advisor, had spent weeks preparing the charges. "Every action we're taking is legal according to the Council's own laws," she explained to Martinez. "We're simply demanding that those laws apply to everyone equally." The trials that followed became known as the Vega Tribunals. For the first time in galactic history, powerful leaders faced consequences for their actions. Some council members were found guilty of genocide and crimes against entire species. Others, who had tried to reform the system from within, received lighter sentences. Admiral Voxichin, who had led the invasion of Earth, faced charges of aggressive war and attempted enslavement of a sentient species. But his honest testimony about council crimes helped prosecutors build cases against higher-ranking officials. "I followed orders," Voxichin testified, "but I now understand that some orders should never be followed. The humans taught us that individuals have a responsibility to refuse immoral commands, regardless of authority." The transformation of galactic civilization happened faster than anyone had thought possible. The new Galactic Republic, established with Earth as its founding member, operated on principles that would have seemed impossible under the old council system. Every species, regardless of technology level or military power, received equal representation. Worlds that had been enslaved for centuries suddenly had voices in galactic government. Former slave species sat as equals alongside their former masters. General Hayes, now serving as humanity's representative to the Republic's